Welcome to Raw Painting. In this video series, we're just going to be painting miniatures. You're going to get a bird's eye view of me just painting miniatures. It's raw, uncut. We're going to post it as it's recorded, so there's never any telling what's going to be said. If you like watching miniatures being painted, if you've got tips, tricks you want to pick up, if you want to add any content in the comments below, I'll be happy to reply to them. And let's just jump in and paint some miniatures. All right, welcome back. Trying a new angle. We are trying some new equipment, so your feedback is definitely welcome. And of course, for raw painting, we're working on a Reaper Frost Giant. So last time we laid in a base coat on the beard as well as finished out the axe. So prior to jumping and putting any paint on, we are actually going to be doing a little bit of prep work on some others so that as we're laying in color, we can make sure that we're keeping busy and keeping some paint applied on this fine day. Hope you're having a great day. If you're first time watching this, we hope you enjoy. This is just us painting. So we've been working on a Reaper Frost Giant. Started on Facebook Live and have moved to our YouTube channel just so we can keep them in order and make sure that they're available to multiple people. So last time we talked about with the beard, I was going to make it red. However, with the fire giants that we have been doing, we have also been giving them red hair or red beards. And I wanted to change it up a bit. So at the last minute, I decided to make a change. We're going to make this Frost Giant a blonde. So we're just going to change up the process, change up the color palette. And because we're going to be putting these colors on top of a base coat, we'll have to make sure that we get good coverage. So a lot of areas we'll probably be applying multiple coats. We want to be able to make sure that we cover it really well and in depth. And we're trying new equipment, so I hope this is capturing it all okay. We'll be checking, but we won't be editing. With raw painting, we do not edit. As we work, that's what you're going to see. So we always hope for the best, hope it comes out well for the viewers. Any tips, tricks, hints, ideas that you have, drop them in the comments. I'd love to have your feedback. Make sure that you subscribe to support our channel when we hit we're a new channel, so we are looking for growth. When we hit 25 subscribers, we're going to be giving away a t-shirt. We've got milestones for 25 and then 45, then 50. And we haven't planned anything beyond that because I try to be a little conservative here and hope for the best, but plan for the worst. But if we can get 25 subscribers, that would be ideal for our first push. And we've got a few different playlists that we'll upload videos for. If you're interested in miniature painting, we've got 2 of them. Of course, this series we call Raw because it's just me sitting here painting, hoping you're coming along for the ride, watching miniatures get done, and painted from kind of that start to finish. But then our other miniature painting series, if that's what you like and enjoy, is called Mini Mastery. And at first we were going to do competition miniature painting on that, but I decided to change it up a little bit because I've got a couple of people who asked about progression of miniatures for tabletop role-playing. And I'm a DM in a D&D 5e, well, a few D&D 5e campaigns, and each of the campaigns that I DM, for the players, I get them each a miniature, and I paint it and gift it to them for them taking the time to spend with me at the tabletop and helping me create a fantastic story with their characters. So we decided for Mini Mastery, we're going to show from start to finish, from primer, I guess not start to finish, but from primer to tabletop ready, the progression of an entire adventuring party. So the most recent campaign that I started, we have 5 players, so I'll be painting 5 miniatures and walking through some of the techniques and tips. And that program is not like this, so I dub over it and talk about some of the processes, but also give backstory and in-game information about the characters that are being represented in the miniatures. So if you want to see character development, be sure to check out that show or that series, Miniature Mastery. And you can just check the playlists. So this here, we're just dropping in a base coat. Quite a bit different from that initial base coat that was a red-brown. This is more of a chestnut brown, so it's still got a little bit of red in it. But because we're using thin coats, some of that initial base coat is going to shine through in this first go-round. So it's going to be even more red. And depending on how it dries, we may alter that up and do additional layers of this base coat. But we want to give it time to dry and then check it and see. Because we're getting so close to finishing out this frost giant, I do have a couple of other miniatures that I'm working on that we are going to be kind of jumping back and forth on as coats here are drying, since I can't move to other areas of the miniature to paint. And we've got his boots done, we've got his belts done, we've got, we're really at the last piece here. We have one accessory that we'll be working on. Then I also pulled some additional miniatures. And I'm going to adjust that camera just a little bit here as I'm washing the brush. And I just think if we adjust this camera a little bit, you'll be able to see a little bit better, and I'll be able to see a little bit better. And then one of the bits that we'll be working on, I was hoping, is this accessory that'll plug into his back there. Now I initially had a base prepped that I was going to stick it on. This is where we had one of his arms. However, there was surface area just wasn't great for adhering onto that base. So it did not go according to plan. So we're going to have to finger it, unfortunately, as we get the initial pieces done so that we can then mount it, well, clean it and mount it, and then be able to finish painting it probably on the figure. Just because I want to make sure the final paint pieces don't get any of the oils off my finger and pick up the paint real well. And the details sculpted into this miniature are so well done. So well done. So if you've seen my videos before, you know I'm a big advocate for Reaper. Reaper is the producer of this Frost Giant Warrior. And they are not a sponsor, so when I say that I love their sculpts, it's not because they are a sponsor, it's because I thoroughly enjoy the company as well as the miniatures. So you can take my word for it. Some of these tight areas here are a little challenging. Make sure you've got a good sharp brush. Those tips holding true, super important when you've got details like this. Because you've got to get in those crevices really well. Maintain control of the paint. So you're just applying it to the beard. And getting all those individual whiskers. So they've got to separate enough to get into those little tiny, minute crevices, and then come back to true. Boy, this fellow has some details. I like the kind of Nordic-inspired filigree that they put in on this guy. If you've seen some of my other videos, you've probably seen some of the decorations I have around my desk are very Norse. It's because a lot of my family is from Sweden and Norway, so it's a proud piece for us. The kind of heritage piece. And so we're not going to edit this video. What you see is what you get. But we will evaluate it and just double check that this new angle is conducive to watching at home. So drop your comments and let us know your thoughts. Do you enjoy it? Do you like it more with the bird's eye view? What's your favorite way to view? It's getting closer and closer to the holidays. Hope everybody has fantastic holidays. kind of excited for it because I've got a long weekend for Christmas. Imagining I'm going to be doing a lot of painting. I've got to clear off my shelf, thus all of the miniatures to the back there, because I have a miniature Kickstarter that is coming in April that has so many miniatures in it. So many miniatures I'm going to be painting for a long time. Probably the most exciting lot of miniatures I'll be receiving at once. Probably do an unboxing video for it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if people are into that or not. I am. I watch a lot of those from their previous Kickstarters. I loved watching the unboxers, but I didn't partake in the Kickstarter, so it was always nice to see some of the miniatures that came out of it. So this is my first year participating in this Kickstarter. And I know my ship window is in the spring, so I've got a ways to wait, which I don't mind. I'm a patient person. But I imagine I'm going to be like a kid on Christmas. See, now I'm starting to second guess myself and think, should we do blonde or should we have kept it a redhead? But I've committed. We're going to stick with blonde. We are going to stick with a blonde palette here. And yeah, I guess maybe that bird's eye view might be better just for watching the brush strokes. Again, I'll evaluate it and we may update, we may change. Young channel. So we're not going to find a form yet. We want to find the best for viewership. So make sure you're commenting with your preference. Of course, we'll also see by number of views how long you view and whether or not this leads you to share, follow, subscribe, any of that. Hit that bell so you get notifications when we post new content. Some of these sculpts are so well detailed. This one, for being a larger miniature, just has a wealth of detail. I want to make sure we do it justice. We want to do the sculptors justice. I want them to be able to look at it and say, that's why I sculpted it. That's what I was envisioning when I sculpted. All right. So I just want to go through and make sure I've got decent coverage on that beard. A little bit of edging to do on this side here yet. Just a hair. Get it? Just a hair on the beard. Pretty good for that base coat. Pretty darn good. All right, well, that one is drying. I'm hoping right there keeps him in view. We will see. So while that one is drying, here is where I'm going to change it up a little bit. And this pack part here. So I'm going to touch and hold on this chest while I do this. So I am just applying a green base coat to this little package here. And at first I was going to do this like a leather color, but I decided to have it stand out a little bit more against the area that it's on the back of his belt. You've got kind of armor bits, you've got leather near with the boots, you've got the cape, you've got a lot of different elements there. I think the green is going to stand out pretty decent. And you're not going to see all of it where I'm painting, but again, that's where it kind of locks in place. So I wanted to make sure to get that for sure. So that I can start laying in a shadow color, then I can attach the item. And then highlight up from there once it's attached. I think that'll be the easiest thing to do. So that covers the pack area, and it's just a little pack with rope. I set that down to dry. Now I could go back to the next color on the beard, but because we're doing live, I'm going to switch it up even a little bit more. And one of the small other figures that I kind of prepped out to fill up some time and get some paint on. Oh, I gotta move around a little bit. Is this stone golem. I've got a couple of golems that I've been working on. And this one here is just another Reaper Bones. And so this one I did a I'm doing a dry brush. I did a base coat in a medium gray and then gave it a black wash. Now I'm doing a medium light gray dry brush. Again, this is a bones that I use on my tabletop. And prior to this, I have just kept him raw, so no paint whatsoever. He came out of the blister and then onto a base, which the base is a little bit big compared to the miniature, but that is actually for D&D 5e. These are considered a large creature. So they go on a larger base, a 2-inch by 2-inch base. So it's a little funky seeing this guy on this 2-inch base compared to, you know, a regular miniature on a 1-inch base. But that is what they get. And again, this is just a medium gray, being fairly liberal with the dry brush. And this just starts differentiating the tone. Because this guy is stone, we're supposed to be made of stone, it'll start picking up the higher areas, leaving those shaded areas darker, which is what we want. And we'll go through and do a couple of colors of dry brush on this fellow, because we want that progression from shadow to light to really stand out. And just give him good tone. And he'll start popping out more and more as we continue to dry brush him. So then additionally I've got a flesh golem. So this ugly guy, I didn't realize how detailed he was. So initially I was just going to do flesh and then a flesh wash and then a flesh highlighting. But he has got like guts showing, tubes and wires hanging out, and bottles in the back. I mean, he is a grotesque. So I did a couple of different things. I had some skull showing. There are some areas where the flesh is open, so I put bones in there. But I was amazed at the detail on this guy for a flesh golem. So I've been working little bits on this guy, and we'll see where it gets. But we'll be working on him little bits here and there as we need to allow things to dry. But let's get back to Frosty, our frost giant. So we did that base coat, and coverage wise, while it does appear a little bit red, I'm not horrified by it. I don't think it looks too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and move up to the first highlight color. And this one here, you can see I'm not putting in individual hairs. I am just painting the patterns, and pretty liberally. So this is a blend of the kind of mid-tone with that base color. I'm going to be focusing on a couple of areas on this. If you look at the beard, let's see if I can get this to show real well. The higher areas and the lower areas. So the tips of the beard, we're going to have lighter, so we want to start up a little bit higher and then bring this color down to the tip so that those areas are lighter, and then we'll do that closer to the face as well. Well, that's what we did initially. So this is all about tricking the eye to see variances in paint color. As we go through and continue highlights, let's talk music. You've probably noticed I don't have music going that you can hear. Feel free to put on a soundtrack that you like. But I when I initially moved the program onto YouTube, I got a strike because I had music going in the background. And I want to avoid any strikes. So if it is music, I'm not going to have it on here and avoid a strike. And because I don't make my own music, I don't have any copyright laws for any music. But that's okay. There's probably going to be a time or two where we do a live stream and have some music going, because music for me is very important. Love to have music going, especially with ones like this. I want to listen to music that inspires me to kind of paint what the model makes me think of. In this case, like I said, very Nordic, very, very Nordic. Put in the comments below what would you have for music on while you're painting Nordic themed or Nordic inspired miniatures. I think of Man of War, maybe like Sons of Odin. I don't know if I would say it right or not, but I want to say their name is Heilung. I don't know if I said that right. But they do a Nordic music, like tribal music. It's really cool. Color-wise, oh, you know what? I had been debating on here what we're going to paint next. I've asked you to comment your thoughts in it, but one of the ideas that I threw out was I have got a female Iron Giant prepped. She is ready to go for paint. But I also have a dragon. And I am debating between the two which to paint next. So make sure, give me your thoughts and feedback. Should we do a white dragon? That's what I've got, a white dragon. Or should we do an Iron Giant, or a Fire Giant, I suppose she is called. Give me your thoughts. Which would you rather see? Iron Giant, or Fire Giant, or a White Dragon? Of course, it's live, so who knows, we may end up working on both of them. Now the palettes are just too far away from each other for it. We got to pick one. We have got to pick one. And then stick to it to the end. Because that's what we do. Start to finish. Start to clear off that shelf of shame. That dried pretty fast on those details. So I'm going to go in and start laying in a second coat of that blend. So again, this is the shadow with the next highlight color. By using multiple thin coats, we get smoother blends, better transitions, and in cases like this, brighter highlights. And in deceiving the eye, that's what's important. Of course, I do have to watch our time as well, because we've talked about keeping some shorter videos. I want to keep some shorter videos. So I'm not going to take up all of your time. But I'd like to show good progress on stuff and not, only get 1 or 2 layers in, if at all possible. At the same time, I hate to rush. I don't want to rush. I want to do a great job on these, even though they're just for my tabletop use, my own personal tabletop use. I don't want a rush job, because I've got to look at them. My players have got to look at them. I want everybody who looks at them to be able to appreciate the miniature, both in sculpture form. I want them to be able to see the amount of detail that went into the sculptures. But yeah, also on the paint. I want people to be proud to know that I painted these. So for me, doing a good, thorough job is great. Just means we may not get as far as I hope all the time on these videos. May mean I have to break them up into smaller videos and release them more often. I saw a video the other day of a gal who was singing I think it was Icelandic, but it may have been Norwegian lullabies. I thought that was awesome. Again, I was looking for inspiration on colors and everything. And I just thought it was really cool. So not too bad. That good ashy color. Now we're going to start moving into our mid-tone. My wet palette is it's being a little runny. There we go, that's better. All right, I'm going to stick with the ends. Now here I'm going to start picking out a little more individual pieces of this beard. Of course, the tips we want to have really good coverage on. And this color should blend pretty seamlessly into the last. Because we blended this color with our base on the last color stroke, these colors should play pretty well together. And blend pretty decent. And they look like they're doing a pretty decent job. It's all about the blending. Again, if you're not being able to see those blends, I apologize. Just know that we will be looking at this, and I do it exactly the way you do it. I wait until I have it posted, and I watch it on YouTube so I can kind of grade myself. Am I doing a good enough job with camera angles? Are you able to see what I'm doing? Am I talking about relevant things? So I hope it pays off for you at home, for you who are tuning in to watch, and trying some new equipment this week. So it'll be a little different. Will be a little different. I hope you are patient as we find the recipe that works for us. Yeah, blending pretty decent. Pretty happy with that. So much work in this beard, I thought the belt was bad. If you've been following us along, remember when we hadn't even done the rivets on the belt? Not to mention some of the smaller details like the gold coins on the armored skirt. I was hoping to have this guy done for one of the campaigns that I'm currently GMing. The party had been kind of in the worlds, I guess, Norse, similar to a Norse countryside, and I guess a little bit of culture. Not as much, but definitely inspired by. I was really hoping to have this guy done for when they were there. But then we started looking at our move, so we were not able to do as much at the table in that region. And while they definitely got to do what they needed to do in that area, as a GM, you always, try to prep up a lot of extra stuff just in case they stick to explore in case they check out different areas. So I had a couple of encounters with giants prepped, and I was hoping to have this guy done just in case they went there. I guess it's a good thing I didn't have him done, because they ended up leaving the region, so I didn't need to have it done. But as a creator, it's always rather have things and not need them than need them and not have them, as far as like finished. Get him to focus a bit there. Quite a different departure from where we started with that red. Just giving the old brush a wash here. Even if I'm using the same colors, I do quite a bit of brush washing, just so I don't get dried paint sticking in the bristles. I want that paint to flow off those brushes. Nice and steady. Very, very watery and thin. So you can see here I'm doing a little bit more, trying to separate some of the details on the hair. Yeah, look at that, 46 minutes already. How can it already be 46 minutes? We haven't gotten the hair done. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to finish this layer, and then I'm going to stop the camera, do a quick stretch, and then we'll come back and record more right where we leave off. That way we can keep going, because I want to get this fellow further. And when we're doing these short sessions, just does not feel like I'm doing the miniature or you any justice. Well, I can paint the golems all day long, but I like sharing this with you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it inspires you to paint as well. Maybe you're following along with a frost giant of your own. A miniature that you're going to be introducing in your campaign. Maybe you're checking out a Learn to Paint kit. Maybe you're thinking about ordering a commission. You know, we do commissions. Reach out to us. We'll put contact information in the description. You know, I love to paint. I'll be happy to paint something that you can proudly use at your table. There, look at that. Base and a first tone. Starting to get some color into his beard. It's going to be kind of an ash blonde color. And we're going to pause right there. Take a little break. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching our video. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we'd love to have you subscribe. Feel free to hit that button if you care to get notifications for when we post new content. Leave your comments below and help us answer the question of where will your adventures take you. Enjoy.